Good
morning.
Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. So I'm glad that you're able to meet each other, even though we meet through cloud meeting, virtual meeting, but we can get in touch each other, and then the presenters who are ready for the presentation, I would like to invite you all to do the presentation, and to the moderator who can lead this presentation, I also invite. So who is the first presenter, and who is the moderator? I invite the moderator and the presenter to
Yes, ma'am. I am as the moderator today for the first presenter. The moderator for the first presenter.
take a part.
Yes, ma'am. I'm the first presenter today. Salama. Okay, is it clear my PowerPoint?
Yes, it's clear. Can we start the presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Ibu Dr. Elaneri Karani MPD as the main examiner, the Honorable all of the presenters, and the students of Master of English Education in University of Palangkaraya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mini International Conference of Seminar on Issue in English Teaching, University of Palangkaraya in 2023. My name is Tiara Afdalia as the moderator today. Before we start our presentation today, I would like to inform you that the presenter has 5 minutes to present the paper and 5 minutes to question and answer session. Please explain your paper as brief as possible. Now we have Ibu Salama SPD as the presenter. Please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. So, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, guys. Today, I will I will present about my paper. So the topic is the implementation of scientific approach for increasing critical thinking in teaching explanation text for EFL students at MA Miftahul Jannah, Palangkaraya. And this is my agenda. There are 4 steps. For the first one is introduction, next methodology, and the third one is discussion and finding, and the last is conclusion. For the introduction, scientific approach is activities learning or activities that a place in 2013 of curriculum. Scientific approach is the approach that applies scientific steps in building new knowledge through scientific method. The learning model needed is the model which enables the students to think scientifically and creatively, and it also develops the sense of inquiry. And for the critical thinking skill, can be integrated into reading skills where students are able to access tasks with problem-based activities so that students can utilize their critical thinking skills toward the topic of reading explanation text. So based on the description above, it's proposed to know more details about how is implementation of scientific approach For increasing critical thinking in teaching explanation text, the teacher and student role in the classroom, and students' English language improvement in their classroom at MA Miftahul Jannah, Palangkaraya. For the methodology, the case study used in this research is aimed to describe and explain two occurrences of importance. So the sample is taken from the 11th grade students at MA Miftahul Jannah, Palangkaraya. Moreover, the role of English teacher in the classroom activity is also observed to support the data collection of the research. In learning activity, scientific approach is applied through 5 steps. The first one is observing, the second one is questioning, the third one experimenting, then associating, and the last one is networking or communicating. So for discussion and finding, based on the data analysis, it found that there are pattern classroom procedure used in learning in process. So the pattern is the 5 steps that I mentioned before. So the teacher applied all the stages when she taught explanation text about making paper from wood chips. The first step is observing pattern. The teacher facilitated the learners by presenting video about the materials, making paper from wood chips to stimulate students' thinking and inclusion. The second step is questioning pattern. In this segment, students have much more chance to ask from simple things to complicated one without an anxiety. They work in pair and discuss about the text. The third step is experimenting or exploring. So this is the activity that given from the teacher. So the students from the class 11, there were 30 students, and then they were assigned to groups, 5 groups. Then each group was given one explanation text with a different topic from the other groups. So 5 groups, 5 different topics. The first group is about flooding. The second group is about snow. The third about rainbow. The fourth about honey, and the 5 about rain. So then they discuss the available text, both about the generic structure, language feature, as well as discussing social function and additional information that supports the topic they are discussing. The fourth step is associating. So in a group and teachers' guidance, students find out the social function, text structure, language feature, and a writing format of the text given. Students also get feedback about their group work. The last step is networking or communicating. In the last of the session, students present their works in group and in front of the whole class. In this step, students might ask some question for the group that presented their work for increasing their critical thinking skill. After the students got some question, then they discuss about it and answer the question. They got feedback from their friends from another group and also the teacher. They also talk about the easy and difficult parts of the lesson to be overcome and find out the solution. So this is the questions that increasing their critical thinking skill. For the first group about flooding, the question is how can the process of flooding occur due to nature and humans? The second group tell about snow. So another group will give them a question or some questions. So for the snow group, what are the positive and negative impacts of snowfall on everyday human life? For the third one is about rainbow. Why is the rainbow shape curve? Why are the colors of the rainbow separated to produce different colors? Next, group of honey. There are 2 question. What does the word glucose mean? What types of bees can produce honey? And the last group is about rain. There are 2 questions. What is the difference between regular rain and snowfall? And the last question, why does water that is dirty when it becomes rain still clean water? So the conclusion, the realization in the classroom scientific approach is conduct through 5 steps: observing, questioning, experimenting, associating, and networking or communicating. The teacher and the learner do their role as a facilitator and subject of education. The students' language development and critical thinking skill are also increased through their activeness and learning. So this is from my presentation.
Well, thank you, Ibu Salama, for a good explanation. Now is Q&A sessions. If you have any question or suggestion, you might ask the presenter. Then the presenter be able to answer that question directly. Please, for all of the audience, is there any question or suggestion? Is there any question or suggestion?
Hello, class. Why don't you address question to the presenter? Because this is a seminar, right? Okay, let me address question to Salama.
Yes,
Could
ma'am.
you explain to me, what is the relation of the implementation of scientific approach with the students' critical thinking? In what part of teaching learning activities, as you explained previously, that arose or increase the critical thinking of the students in that particular class? In what part of teaching learning activities based on scientific approach that is able to increase or develop the critical thinking of the students or students' critical thinking? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. In my opinion, in this step,
No, I mean, there are many stages, right? That during the implementation of scientific approach, there are many stages that you implement, right? For example, observing, so on, and then experimenting, communicating, and so on and so on. And which part of these stages in the process of teaching learning approach, in the process of scientific approach that during the implementation of this approach, you can see you found, yeah, the critical thinking, the students critical thinking developed.
I think in the last stages, ma'am, in communicating stages, so the students present about their work in group. So another group will give them a question or some questions. So the question is critical thinking that they're increasing in this class.
Okay, so can you show me the finding, the slide that saw this fact, this part, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There are
Okay, so
some questions of critical thinking.
So in this stage, all the students are actively argue each other, right? Because
Yes, ma'am.
there is a question and answer among the groups
Yes,
during the
ma'am.
presentation, and this develop their critical thinking. Good, very good. Yeah, I'm glad that you are able to identify the stages at which the students actively involved and are able to develop their critical thinking. So in your conclusion, you can suggest that the part of the stages or the stages at which the students are able to to develop their critical thinking, particularly at the moment at which they communicate the project that they have done. Is that the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the realization of classroom learning is conducted through various stages. So you need to emphasize which stages that the critical thinking students develop appear. You can see directly. You can observe directly. That is what I mean. What is the relation of the implementation of scientific approach and the students' critical thinking development? So,
I should,
Salamat, please.
yes, ma'am. So I
Yeah,
should
I suggest.
mention what stages.
Yeah, I think so. So even though there are observation, there is a questioning, there is implementing, associating, and network or communicating, these stages must be occur in scientific approach learning, right? But
Yes.
in which stages that the students are able to develop their coding, you can state directly in the last stage, that is communicating or develop networking. Why? Because there is a question and answer activities, right? And the student explain something, other student ask them question. And this is the process how they argue. So argue in this case is the process how to develop their critical thinking. Got the point? Okay. So
I got
you
it.
need to emphasize, you need to emphasize the part of particular stages at which the students are able to develop their critical thinking. So I'm glad that you're able to identify this, and later you can present it in the form of scientific explanation seminar, mini seminar. You call this as a mini seminar. This is the way how we do a presentation. You did something, you conduct a research, right? You conducted a research, and then you bring the result of your finding, the result of research finding into a particular community, and you share your finding over there. So this is the way how we expose, publish our finding, your finding in this case, as a researcher. This is great. I'm really appreciate what you have done. But I also uh, appreciate the way you display the PPT one by one. Yeah, start from the background, and then of course objective. What is that for? You conducted the research. Is that the objective of the research that you conducted? And then you also explain the methodology, how you get the data, how you analyze the data. And after that, you display through slideshow the finding. And then also you don't forget to discuss the result, and then it end up with conclusion. That's great. Thank you very much, Salama.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. Next presenter, please. Sorry, aku lagi batuk-batuk nih. Any more question? Moderator, please.
Is there any question, please, for the audience? It seems like there is no question more. That's all for this session. It's going to the next session and presenter. Thank you for the attention.
Okay. Silahkan lanjutkan. Next presenter, please. And of course, the moderator will lead the discussion. Di mana ini?
Okay, for the second presenter will be presented by Miss Tiara Afdalia. So, as a moderator, I am Salama Haka as the moderator today. Before we start our presentation today, I would like to inform you that the presenter has 5 minutes to present the paper and 5 minutes to question and answer session. Please explain your paper as brief as possible. So now we have Ms. Tiara Afdalia as the presenter. Please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tiara Afdalia, and today I would like to present the result of the implementation of scientific approach to improve critical thinking skill at SD Islam Hasankah Palangkaraya. These are the main points of the presentation today. For the first is background of the study, theoretical foundation, research methodology, finding and discussion, and conclusion. Okay. Well, as we know that curriculum that applies to education in Indonesia has adopted and implement scientific approach in the learning process. However, many teachers do not optimally apply the scientific approach in the learning process. According to Ayuni, in 2016 state that there are 30.9% of teachers have a low level of understanding of the scientific approach. If the teacher has the right knowledge about the scientific approach and critical thinking skill, this knowledge will help the teacher apply the scientific approach to develop students' thinking skill. Thus, the researcher investigate how the scientific approach can improve elementary school students' critical thinking skills, especially at SD Islam Hasankah Palangkaraya. There are two theoretical foundations. For the first is scientific approach in Minister of Education and Culture Regulation number 81A of 2013 Appendix 4. The scientific approach in the learning process consists of 5 main learning experience: observing, asking, gathering information, associating, and communicating. And for the critical thinking in the context of the knowledge domain according to the taxonomy of Anderson and Cretwell 2001 includes the ability to analyze, evaluate, and create. And this is the research methodology. This study used a qualitative approach with a literature review. The literature review was used to collect information and data relevant to the research objective. The subject of this study consists of 29 students in grade 3 at SD Islam Hasankah Palangkaraya with an age range of 9 to 10 years. And then this is the implementation procedure of the scientific approach in the learning process that consists of, for the first is student observe the picture shown by the teacher about fruits and vegetable. So this is the picture. The teacher facilitate the picture to the students and ask the student to please look at the picture. Then can you guess what the things or what they do at the pictures? And for the second, student asked about the relevant material by the study. And for the third, students collect data information using various methods. For the example, by making a shopping list for cooking. And for the fourth, students make lists of several categories of fruits and vegetables. And for the last is student practice the conversation, the simple conversation of buying and selling vegetables and fruits at the market. This is the students' worksheet to gathering information for the step 3. Student collect data information. They have to classify the fruits and vegetables. They have to distinguish what kind of the fruits and vegetables. Finding and discussion. The scientific approach can improve students' critical thinking skill in elementary schools. The implementation of a scientific approach in the classroom can improve student critical thinking skill, be more involved in the process of learning activities, arouse students' curiosity to develop their various reflective abilities. Furthermore, Sanjaya in 2019 through quasi-experimental research explained that there was an average difference between pre-test and post-test of 15,8, which means that there was an increase in students' critical thinking skill after the implementation of scientific approach-based learning. Thus, the scientific approach can help students find and construct their knowledge facilitated by the teacher. The conclusion, the implementation of the 2013 curriculum in Indonesia aims to develop critical thinking skill as a 21st century skill in elementary school students. The application of scientific approach in students' learning is carried out through observing, asking or questioning, gathering information, associating, and communicating. The teacher can also combine the scientific approach with strategies or other methods relevant to the material so that it is more effective in developing critical thinking skill of elementary school students. That's all my presentation. Back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Tiara. So this is the question and answer section. So is there anyone that have a question or suggestion for the presenter? You should ask her directly, please.
Good morning. Can you hear my voice? Yes. Yes,
Yes.
clear. My name is Riza, and today I would like to ask the presenter about I'm a bit confused in this research. The presenter used literature review as the method, and the subject is the student. My question is whether in literature review we can use like student as the subject of research, because in my as I know, subject research subject for literature review is maybe the book or the topic that can be researched by the researcher. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. Actually, I am not sure about the research methodology because I didn't make an assessment to the student, so I decide to use the qualitative approach with a literature review, also with the observing the students and implementation the material of scientific approach. Maybe this is the limitation of the presentation that I didn't explain more about the observation that I did the study. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giza, for the suggestion and question. Is there anyone else that have question or suggestion? Please tell the presenter.
Okay, let me give my comment specifically concerning the research methodology. Tiara, it would be better if
Yes.
you state clearly the research methodology that you applied during conducting the research. Why it is important? Because um, Okay, you stated here. This study applied a qualitative approach with literature review. Okay, you know literature review. You review literature. You review articles. You review the journal which publish articles, a wide range of articles concerning the implementation of scientific approach and its relation with the critical thinking with the students' critical thinking development. And it means that you need to state clearly um, which design that you implement. Okay, qualitative approach is an approach. Okay, but you need to state clearly the research design, whether this is descriptive qualitative design or case study, such as Salamah explained previously, or snowballing or phenomenology. Those are research design, which commonly applied based on qualitative approach. So you need to state directly, need to state clearly of the research design that you implemented. Why it is important? Because you need to expose that instead of literature review, but literature review in this case is uh, I do not say that this is a weakness design, but it could be better if you say descriptive qualitative design. It is commonly referred to descriptive qualitative design because you observe directly and then later you describe, explain, explain the result. Not only explain, but the meaning of explain in this case is you discuss, you compare what? Sorry, you compare what? You compare the previous um, research finding based on your review with your current result finding. So you can compare, you can contrast the result, whether it is in line with the previous result or it is contrast with the previous result. This is the idea of discussion. Um, the presentation, no, sorry, finding and discussion. So instead of display the data, you also discuss it. So the idea of discuss in this case is you explain whether your current research finding is in line or it is contrast, yeah, with your current research finding, the previous one. So that is the idea of what you need to do in the part of finding, showing the finding and discussion. And research methodology in this case is plays significant role in the part of checking data and analyzing data. Okay, that's my suggestion. So the next question is, can you explain to us, to me specifically, particularly, in what stage that scientific approach, in what stage of scientific approach the students are able to develop their critical thinking? The similar question with Salama that I
Yes.
addressed to Salama.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, for the suggestion. I got it. So the main point, the scientific approach can develop students' critical thinking skill is at the stage 3. The students collect data and information using various methods. For the example, by making a shopping list. So actually, I facilitate them students worksheet to classify the fruits and vegetable. Actually, this is the example that they have to write it down. For the example, banana, they have to write it in fruits, and also they should add more out of this option. So based on their knowledge, for the example, like there is no apple here, so if they know about another fruits except at this point, they have to write it down at these fruits, also for the vegetables. So we can,
Okay.
so the result of their assignment, we can do that.
Mhm.
How many the knowledge that they can write it down at the student's
Mhm.
worksheet.
Okay, great. I'm glad that you're able to show to us that in during stage 3. Can you show us stage 3? The slide, I mean.
Stage 3.
Okay, good. So the first stage is observe. You are the student to observe, and then the second stage is the students are able. The students can ask question, yeah, concerning
Yes.
the task that they need to do, and then during the process of collecting data to get information, you ask them to identify, right?
Yes.
Identify the fruit and vegetable based on the list that you provide for them. But they are able to add more fruits and vegetables based on their knowledge, based on their personal experience in the real life at home, for example. Um, if there is no apple in the list, they can add apple. If there is no buah naga,
Yes.
dragon fruit, they can add dragon fruit. This is a critical thinking. Good. I'm glad that you're able to identify that. And is that only the part? Uh, is that the only stage 3 at which a student are able to develop their critical thinking? Do you think only stage
Actually,
3?
no, actually,
No.
at the fourth stage, actually it for to
Mm,
the purpose of the students make a list of several categories to make a
mm,
perfect before stages, and then for
okay.
the five stage of communicating,
Mm,
students can be able to develop
mm,
their
critical
ability to practice the
ability.
conversation as the buyer
Okay.
and the seller.
Okay. So there are how many stages? First stages, stage 3. So
Stage 3.
So the critical thinking, the process of the students' critical thinking development occur in stage 3, stage
Yes.
4. What
Yeah.
about stage 5? What about stage 5?
Stage 5, the purpose of stage 5 also
Mhm.
can develop their
Critical
ability
thinking.
to, yeah, ability.
Okay. Okay, so I'm glad that you're able convince us as a the audience of your presentation. So why don't you conclude then that there are 3 stages at which students are able to develop their critical thinking. The first stage is whenever they collect data information, and it occurs in stage 3, and then
Mhm.
they make a list for several categories. So in this stage they are also develop their why, you explain it to us, and then the last is they communicate it, they share their finding, they share the list that they have found based on the project that assigned to them to do. And you can then conclude that in the process of implementing scientific approach, it seems that based on the data, the students are able to develop their critical thinking. So the process during collect data and information, during the process of make a list of several categories and communicate the result to the class, these stages lead the student to develop their critical thinking. Begitu,
Oh,
enak
yes,
kan?
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
So it
So
not depends on one stages, ma'am. It can
good, very good.
many. Oh, okay. I see.
You found that the process of critical thinking development among the students not only in stage 3, but it
Mm-mm.
appears in stage 4 and stage 5. What are they? During collect data information, during make a
And
list of several, and
practice the
they practice the
conversation.
conversation of buying and selling. Gitu, enak kan?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
it
much,
runs
ma'am.
smoothly. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So thank you. It's going back to the moderator again.
Okay, thank you, presenter that present her paper today. Thank you for Ma'am Elan and Miss Giza for the question and suggestion to the presenter. So I will give a chance for another presenter. And thank you for the attention, guys, today. And good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, next presenter, please. Who are the presenter and who are the moderator? Please take a role as your own job.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Ma'am Elan.
Yeah. Okay, morning.
I am Alpian as moderator. Now we will
Mhm.
enter to the next speaker, Ma'am Ikrimah, for the presenter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Wait, ma'am. Okay, for the presenter, they will be given 5 minutes to present your material, ma'am, and the next 5 minutes for the question and answer section. So, the presenter time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Alpiansari for giving me time. So I will share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Please tell me if you can see my, what is that, PowerPoint clearly.
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say thanks to Mrs. Elan Nari for time. But before that, I would like to explain that my topic today is about use and example of electronic media in ELT. And I did a mini research. My mini research is about the implementations of podcasts to develop students' listening skill at the 11th grade of Mankota Palangkaraya. And there are our agenda for today. The first one is background, and the second is literature review. The third is methodology. The fourth is result, and the last is discussion. So let's move to our background of the research. And actually, we know that there are 4 English language skills that senior high school students must learn. I use senior high school because the mini research I did in MA, and they need to learn listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And based on Lunan research, Richard and Renadia in 2002 claims that listening plays a crucial role in communicating because it is impossible to speak first rather than listen. In foreign language classes, the role of listening is also crucial. The teaching learning activity cannot begin if students cannot understand the input. And also, because my topic today is about podcast, and podcast is the part of innovative learning. It serves objectives number. The first is to change ranges, then register of English listening practice materials available for learners to utilize in a variety methods. The second is to present connectivity between the dissimilar elements. And the last is to expand scope for discussion activities. And now I would like to explain just a little bit about literature review. The first one is listening, as Howard and Dakin in here in 2015 define the ability to identify and to understand what others are saying. And podcast, a word created by combining iPod and broadcast, is a medium that incorporates a collection of audio or video files to which individuals freely subscribe via internet. And it is dated from Note 2005. Okay, now I would like to explain about the methodology of the research. In the study, the quantitative method was used. The research approach was quasi-experimental. There are 2 types of quasi-experimental designs according to Aridona 2010. Non-randomized control group pretest post-test design and counterbalance design. The researchers use a pretest post-test design with a non-randomized control group. So before I go to the result, I would like to explain a little bit how the procedure or steps that I use in this methodology to gain the data. Before I explain about the data, I would like to explain about the what is that? Like I use experimental group and also control group. I do believe that all of you understands about what I said. And for experimental class, I use podcast, and for the control class, I use conventional way only. And to gain the data, of course, I use test, and the test was multiple choice that consists of 15 questions that related to the content of the podcast script, like that. Okay, now let's I would like to explain about the data analysis technique. The first one is the steps. There are 3 steps to gain the data. The first one is instrument test. And this instrument test would like to check the data is valid or not. And for descriptive statistical is actually I want to know the largest data, the mean, median, mode, and also standard deviation. And for inferential statistical is about to know the normality, homogeneity, and also the very last is to test the hypothesis, like that. Okay, and this is the finding and discussion. For the finding, I would like to explain about the instrument test, descriptive statistical analysis, and also inferential statistical analysis. For the validity test result, there are 70 respondents. Actually, I took 2 classes. They are from 11 Agama 1 and 11 Agama 2. I chose them. And for one class consists of 35 students, so it means that there are 70 respondents. And the degrees of freedom, you can see that 70 minus 2 is 68 and can be obtained. And for DL, a degree of freedom, is 68 and an alpha value of 5% for 2 sides, and our table value is 0.235. So it means that if the data will be valid, if the correlation coefficient must be greater than 0.235. So, and this is the result. The question items is 15, and like we said, the R table is 0.235, and the R value is greater than R table. As you can see that all of the score of the R value are greater than R table. It means that they are valid. Because the data is valid, so we may continue to the reliability test. And for the reliability test result, the Cronberg alpha techniques was used to test instrument reliability. The significant test was performed at significant level of 0.05, which means that the instrument is reliable if the alpha value is greater than the R table. Like we know that the R table is 0.235, like that. And we can see that the Cronberg alpha is 0.785. It means that it is greater than the R table. And we can see the alpha, this is reliable because the alpha value is greater than R table, which is 0.235. That shows that each instrument was a reliability value. That means the Corman and is declared reliable, like that. And because the data is valid and also reliable, so we move to descriptive statistical analysis. Like I said before, that for this descriptive statistical analysis, I want to know the smallest and largest data, also the mean, median, mode, and standard deviations. And these are the results. Like we say that the mean for the pretest is 46.69, and for the post-test for experimental research is 80. And for the pretest for mean is 40. Meanwhile, the control result for is 73.31. So it means that there is what is that development. There is the development result for the pretest to post-test, both for experimental result and also for control result, like that. And also the median, the most, standard deviation, and minimum, maximum, and also the summaries, like that. And I would like to continue to the normality test, like we know before. There are two studies that I use. There are Kolmogorov-Smirnov and also Sapir-Wheel, and the significant value is 5%, which is 0.05, like that. And if the data is greater than 5%, it means that the data is normally distributed. And here is the result. And for the scores are for the pre-test, experimental, post-test. Oh, sorry, I didn't. What is that? Change the audio visual because I used my previous PPT. I forget to change, but it is actually podcast, like that. And for the pretest is for experimental is podcast, the significance is 0.365, and for the post test is 0.136, like that. And like we said that for the pretest experimental, post-test experimental, control, and for the control for the not audio is that is for conventional, all of the data is greater than 5% or 0.05. It means that the significance for the Kolmogorov-Smirnov and Sapir-Wheel are normally distributed. And for the homogeneity test, data is said to be homogeneous if the value of signs is greater than the alpha value, that is 5%. It will be homogeneous, like that. And here is the result. And for the significance, for the based on mean over there and based on median, then blah blah blah, the significance is also greater than 0.05. So it means that the data is homogeneous. And for the hypothesis test, this is the last test for knowing if this mini research is really can develop the students listening skill, like that. And for the t-test, for this test, the test was used in this study to test the hypothesis, the criteria used to make a hypothesis decisions with, yes, it is still 5%, which is 0.05. The alpha significant level, that is the probability significance. If there is lower than 0.05, then the null hypothesis is rejected. Otherwise, if the probability significance is greater than 0.05, it means that the null hypothesis is accepted. And these are the hypotheses. For the null hypothesis, it means that there is no difference with results between classes taught using podcast and classes taught using conventional to develop student listening skill. And for the HA, or what is that? I kind of forget the abbreviation. It said that there is a different results between classes taught using podcast and classes taught using conventional to develop student listening skill. And because we know that the result like that, so it means it is the result. And we need to pay attention to seek to tailor for equal variances assumed and equal variances not assumed. But we like our lecturer before said that if the data is valid and also reliable, we look at the equal variances assumed. It means that, but before that, the both of the scores are same. They are 0.035. So it means that it is smaller. It is, yeah, it is smaller than 0.05. So it means that the data is the data, the null hypothesis, like we said here. Yeah, it means that the null hypothesis is, what is this? Rejected. Okay. So I would like to move to the discussion. Okay, the outcome demonstrate that using podcast I'm sorry, my display is kinda, okay, I need to move. Okay, was more efficient to develop the students' listening skill. The students who were taught by using podcasts perform better than those who were instructed by using conventional only. It is evident that media, yeah, because podcast is a media, it is evident that media helps students learn more effectively and increases their interest in the pedagogical process. In addition, podcast media can be used to increase students' desire and motivations in order to encourage them to engage in listening activities. The use of media makes the educational process more engaging and interactive. And it is started by Margono in 2010. And also the podcast indicated that there was a statistically significant difference between the two groups. The two groups are experimental class and control class. And for the experimental groups, for statistically demonstrated that using podcasts can be an alternative method for enhancing students' comprehension and motivating them to engage in listening activities. And for the conclusions, based on the results of the study, it can be said that there was a significant difference between the groups who are taught using podcasts and also for the conventional. And based on the findings, like I explained before, the alternative hypothesis, which say there is a different result between classes using podcasts and not using podcasts, was accepted. Meanwhile, the null hypothesis is rejected. Okay, so it means that it indicates that podcast is, yeah, effective in listening activities. Okay, that's all from my presentation. I will go back to our moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Ikrimah. That is a very clear presentation. So the speaker has delivered the presentation. Next is the question and answer session. Welcome to friends who want to ask to send your question. So, the audience, do you have any question for the presenters?
Ayo mahasiswa dong yang aktif, masa ibu yang ngomong.
Okay, guys. Is there any
Critical
question?
thinkingnya di proses ini. Okay, no one respond to the moderator's invitation. Okay. First of all, I would like to say this is a great job that you're able to convince the audience that your research has been conducted successfully because the hypothesis has been proved based on the data and statistical analysis that you made. And for those who do not for those who do not interested in statistical analysis, they will keep silent and has no comment about that. Why? Because statistical analysis will be meaningful if it is explained comprehensively, yeah, because statistic is a symbol. So this is the weakness. Also, sometimes complicated explanation. If you apply statistic in a more complicated way, you can do that in a more simplest way, which the audience are able to understand your explanation, because not the statistic that they need your explanation. So in that case, you can simplify your explanation by doing what? By simplify your explanation. For example, result finding. Result finding, you can show that, okay, data, what does it mean? Statistic, in this case, is a symbol at which you can refer to a particular points that you as the baseline for you when you conducted the research. And in that case, it will be meaningful for the audience, and they can understand your explanation also whenever you explain it and relate it with the objectives of your research, and then see the advantage by implementing podcast. So podcast in that case is electronic media, digital
Yeah.
media, I mean. So
Yeah.
specifically this can help so this this media can help the students to increase, to develop their listening skills. In what way? That is the more meaningful for the audience. In what way it is able to develop students' listening skill, rather than display the statistical analysis. So I think that's good. If you are going to conduct a research later, or whatever you want to do, and apply statistical analysis, because you apply qualitative research approach. And um, this also will be meaningful if you can categorize or identify categorize and then identify in what part of listening activities that podcast play significant role and able to develop the students' listening skill. This is more useful and meaningful for the audience. So
Yeah.
that is my comment concerning the presentation, David. So overall, this great job, because you are able to prove that podcast is effective as an effective media, especially electronic media, for developing listening skill for teenagers at MAN. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the comment.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the comment. Friends, is there any question? No? Okay, I think this is the end of the presentation. As a moderator, I apologize for the mistake during the presentation process. Thanks for the presenter, Mimi Krima, and also thanks for Elan, and also thanks for the audience. So, for the next moderator and the next presenter.
Okay. This is my turn to be the moderator and Mr. Alfian Sari to be presenter. But before that, I would like to say thank you for the change. Okay, for shorten the time, I would like to invite Mr. Alfian Sari to start his presentation. Okay, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Ikrima. Okay, now I will present my mini research. The title is Using CAC Application to Develop Student Speaking Skill at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru. So the introduction, English teaching in Indonesia nowadays is using a variety of techniques. A number of applications are used as a tool to encourage students to learn English for effective communication. Application as a tool or media has a great new option for extending and enhancing education. Application is now used formally in primary, secondary, and tertiary institution and informally in Indonesia. However, the use comes with numerous advantages and disadvantages. Cake application is one of them, and it will be the focus of this current study. Cake is a free application developed by Cake Corp that was released on March 2018. This app has a lot of features for learning English, such as a speaking tool to practice speaking using dialogue, watching videos to improve speaking skill, and guess fill in the blank, and comparing the correct answer to help memorize each expression. Speaking practice, which stimulates conversation with native speaker, is one of the features. So, for this reason, me as the researcher are interested to explore and describe the use of CAC application to develop student speaking skill. The method, the research design of this research is a qualitative descriptive method and questionnaire and interview as instruments to collect the data. According to Sugiono 2012, edit descriptive research design used to explore and describe the data that has been collected as it is. So, the qualitative was considered suitable as an approach for finding the answer to the research question of this study. The instrument X questionnaire consists of question, while the interview consists 5 questions. This research was conducted at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru. So the participant of this research are students from 10th grade senior high school. There are 15 students as the participant. This research was carried out on Monday, 8 May 2023, and Friday 12 May 2023 at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru. For the instruments, to obtain the data, the researcher used two main instruments, questionnaire and interview. In this research, the data is very important. So the first instrument is a questionnaire. The questionnaire used in the study was designed for students at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru in order to ascertain their perception, their thought of the use of CAC application to develop speaking skill. In this study, a closed-ended questionnaire was used, and also the questionnaire was in the form of a Likert scale. The second instrument was the interview. Interview was another data collection in this research, and according to Kumar 2005, interview was conducted for data collection to support the questionnaire and clarify the student answer. So in this research, five representative students were chosen to be interviewed about their experience using the CAC application. Next is the research procedure. This research was carried out on Monday, 8 May 2023, and Friday, 12 May 2023 at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru. First, on Monday, the researcher as a teacher explained about the CAC application. The researcher explained how to use the CAC application to learn English. After that, the researcher instructed the student to use the CAC application while studying in home or at school. Student used the CAC application for a few days. Then, after a few days, student used the CAC application. The teacher, as a researcher, came back to class with the aim to distributing the questionnaire as the main instrument about the use of CAC application in developing student speaking skill. After the students answer all of the questionnaire, the researcher selected several students as a representative student in the class to be interviewed. And here in this research, the interview was to support the questionnaire and clarify the student answer. The next is the result. It is the table of the questionnaire. There are 12 questions, 12 statements. The first statement we can see here on the questionnaire. This app is free, interesting, and easy to use. So the result is showed that 15 students agree with the question. The statement was supported by 26.7% of respondents that chose strongly agree, and 73.3% of respondents by chose agree. This supported by the interview. So the students quote AMS in interview at that learning English with CAC application is interesting. So for the second question is, this app covers a wide range of speaking topics, English conversation, and English expression. There are 93.3% of respondents agree with the statement, while 6.7% respondents chose neutral. The third statement on the questionnaire is, I can learn and practice English simply by watching videos. And the results showed that all of the respondents agree that by using CAC application, they learn and practice English simply by watching videos. And for the fourth statement, Learning English with cake becomes easier, simpler, and more fun. There are 14 respondents chose agree that cake is simpler and fun, while one respondent chose neutral. This statement also supported by the second instrument, the interview. The students code AMS, DN, MA, and SM, and EF said that they all agree that the use of cake application made the learning becomes easier, simpler, and fun. AMS also adds that the learning English with the cake is very interesting. So for the statement number 5 is I can simulate conversation with native speaker using a speak feature, allowing me to practice my pronunciation and listening. There are 93.3% respondents agree that the feature was support them in practice their English. For the next statement, there is a quiz feature that challenged me to get the highest score, motivating me to keep practicing and studying. So the result showed that there are 86.7% chose agree, and while only 13.3% chose neutral. For the next result, statement number 7 of the questionnaire is the app can use to learn English independently as long as students are enthusiastic and want to use the app regularly. So the statement was supported by 6.7% chose strongly agree and 73.3% chose agree, while there are 20% chose neutral in this statement. For the eighth statement, is the cake English app give more opportunities to practice speaking? In this statement, there are 100% of the respondents agree that using cake application give them more opportunities to practice their English, especially their English speaking skill. This result also supported by the second instrument interview that they feel that using the cake application give them the opportunity to learn and practice their speaking because they can do it anytime and anywhere. For the number 9, is cake application give me more chance to improve my speaking skill? This statement, this question, supported by 100% of respondents chose agree that cake application give them more chance to improve their speaking skill. And statement number 10, I'm able to practice speaking using cake application as many time as I want. There are 33.3% chose strongly agree and 66.7% chose agree. So in short, all of the respondents agree that that using cake application they can use cake application as many times as they want. For the next segment is I enjoy choosing material on cake application in improving my speaking skill. There are 11 respondents. 73.3% chose agree that they are enjoy choosing the material on cake application, while there are 4 respondents. 26.7% chose neutral. The interview result also showed that the students all agree and enjoy using this cake application. For the last statement, the last question of the questionnaire, the practice in cake application gives me more motivation in improving my speaking skill. In this last statement, in this last question, there are 3 respondents, 20% that chose strongly agree, while 11 respondents, 73.3% chose agree with the statement, and only one respondent chose neutral. In the interview also showed that the same, that they all feel motivated with using cake application that increase their motivation. It is because the use of cake application is fun. Okay, the next one is a conclusion. According to the study's result, the majority of students agree that the use of cake application to develop their speaking skill is kind of effective. They could make the best use of the application for their speaking improvement. They were familiar with the feature of the application. They could progress from beginner to advanced practice. Furthermore, the students also feel motivated in the use of Cake English app to improve their English skill, particularly speaking skill. Okay, that's all from my presentation. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Alfian for his explanations about implementing of cake application. And this session is Q&A session, and I would like to invite the audiences to give their comments, questions, and or suggestions.
Ayo, mahasiswanya mana? Komennya.
Okay, Mr. Abian and Miss Ikrimah. I would like to give some just suggestion or comment, not questions. As I have listened from the Mr. Alpian explanation before that, he used questionnaire or interview as the methodology for the as the method to collect the data. But and the title of his research is the implementation of using cake, okay, cake for students speak to improve student speaking skill. I think instead of using the title like the effect or the effect, and in the conclusion you said it's the effective or effectiveness of cake for student speaking skill. I think because you didn't use statistical data, when we say something is effective or not, we need to use to prove it with statistical data. I think like that. So when we use only questionnaire based on students' perception, maybe the title should be revised to the students' perception on using cake to improve their speaking skill. I think that's the only comment that I can give, because when we said it is effective or there is an effect, the interview cannot answer that kind of things, that kind of data, cannot conclude that kind of things. So the better title I think is to revise it to the students' perception about using cake to improve their speaking skill. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Mem Girja.
Okay. Moderator, what will we do next?
Okay, thank you for Ibu Christia for her comment and suggestions. And anyone else who want to ask our moderator today? Sorry, presenter today.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. Well, Alpian, I think the case that you introduced to us concerning using cake application to develop student speaking skill at SMA Pembangunan Jangkang Baru. Well, based on this title, it seems to me that you are going to conduct a research by implementing pre-experimental, I guess. But later, following your explanation, to my surprise, you introduced to us to explain to us about the result of your interview, result of your survey concerning the student perception of using cake application, whether they like or dislike this application during the process of developing their speaking skill. And to my surprise later, you conclude that this application is effective for developing student speaking skill. So it seems to me there is an overlap. Overlap what? Why I say so? Because it seemed to me that you lead us to the deeper discussion that cake application is effective for developing student speaking skill. And okay, I agree with you if you then add more information that based on the student perception that this application is more meaningful for them while they are practicing speaking skill, and this application useful for them meaningful for them for developing their speaking skill. That's good. But the essential thing is whether this application is able to develop this speaking skill must be based on pre-experimental research design. That is, I think, my comment concerning the research method that you apply. Can you show us the slide? Research
Yeah.
method, research methodology.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Qualitative research method with question. Okay. Qualitative research method must be specified into more practical one. That is by by stating like this: applying this research applies qualitative research method with pre-experimental research, for example, with one group pre-test post-test design. So one group pre-test post-test design is a research design that commonly applied under pre-experimental design, under pre-experimental research. So I think you need to add here not correction, but specify the research design that you apply. Okay, no matter that you also use questionnaire and interview and the result just now you display and then explain to us this good. This is additional data. So you get additional data by using questionnaire and doing interview to the student. And just now you show us, reveal to us as audience that based on the question and interview that the students are found to study to develop their speaking skill using cake application. So referring to Ibu Ikrima, I'm appreciate her finding that Ibu Ikrima just now consistently explained to us as audience the process how he get data and then how she analyzes data and then she shows to us the result. So there is a consistency that Ibu Ikrima has done. Yeah. So you can follow her explanation, the way she explains the result. She explained the result method that she implemented or she applied during the process of conducting the research. Jadi Pak Alfian bisa mengacu, bukan meniru ya, merujuk kepada apa yang dilakukan oleh Ibu Ikrima. Yang saya komen tadi itu Ibu Ikrima menyajikan data terlalu statistikal dan itu berat untuk diikuti audience. Itu yang saya kritisi punya Bu Ikrima. But the way she present the data is very good. Yeah, excellent way. The way she expressed it very clearly. Nah, but yours, okay, you simplify your explanation, but you miss a significant point. That is, you miss that the research design that you implement during conducting the research. So I suggest you to add this this research. So delete this part. Start from this phrase. This research apply qualitative, quantitative, quanti. Kalau ada data-data angka persen itu kuantitatif, ya, quantitative research method with pre-experimental and one group pre-test post-test design. Okay, because you need to prove your hypothesis whether this application, that is cake application, is effective or not to develop the students' speaking skill. And you are lucky because you also used questionnaire and conducting interview to add the information, to add data to support the main data. Yeah, you collected previously, and the additional data strengthen the fact, and also this evidence reveal that cake application is effective. Why? Because the student perceive we are happy to do this and we are lucky to, and so on, right? So this indicates that cake application is effective and efficient to assist the students developing their speaking skill. Gitu. Ya,
Oke.
itu kritisinya ya. Oke. Jadi bisa merujuk kepada penjelasan Ibu Ikrimah tadi itu memang sangat saintifik. Tetapi untuk sebuah presentase ilmiah itu harus disimplify. Ya, Ibu Ikrimah ya. That's my
Ya,
comment.
Bu.
So, for a thesis, for an article, that's an excellent way to explain to the audience, to the reader, your research finding. But the way you the way you present it in the international conference, it seems to me you need to simplify it. But quite first vice versa, or the opposite of Ibu Ikrimah's presentation, Pak Alfian, you are to simplify your explanation and miss some important part of your research method. Okay, so that is my comment concerning the presentation. But all of you are able to present and do excellent presentation. I'm glad to observe this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I think that's all from Mr. Alpian. Thank you very much for his great presentation and also the comment from Ibu Krisya and also Ibu Elan. And I would like to invite another presenter and also moderator to take part on the stage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, Ma'am Elan. I am Agel, and I will be the moderator. Before we start, I would like to introduce to you the presenter. It is Miss Eva Handayana. Today, she will present about the implementing animation video to enhance students' listening skill. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our presenter to start the presentation. The presenter has about 5 minutes to present, and after that, we will have the question and answer session. Time is yours, Miss Eva. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Agel. Good morning, Ma'am Elan Karani, and good morning, class. So I would like to present the result of my study. My study entitled Implementing Animation Video to Enhance Students' Listening Skill at the 7th grade students of MTS Buntok. Media plays an important role in a teaching and learning process. Media is needed to reach the objectives of teaching and learning process. As a teacher, we must be able to innovate, and we should use various media or teaching aids in giving the material to the students. Video animation is one of the media learning that is proposed by the writer to teach listening skill. By me, I mean to teach listening skill. It aims to make teaching learning process becomes more enjoyable and avoid students getting bored. And the aim of this study is to answer the hypothesis. First, does animation video affect students' listening skill? And the second, are there any differences in students' learning outcomes in listening between class that get animation video treatment and the conventional learning class? The study uses quasi-experimental design, and the data are the 7th grade students of MTS Buntok. In collecting data for this study, I used tests to collect the data. The data was collected from the pre-test and post-test. The pre-test was conducted before the treatment, and the post-test was conducted after the treatment. And here are the results of the study. And I'll go to the next page. This is the result of the descriptive analysis. This is the amount of my students. This is the minimum score and maximum score, the mean score or nilai rata-rata, and this is the standard deviation. This is the result of the normality test. The SIG values for Kolmogorov, Smirnov, and Safirovilk are 0.2 and the n 0.149, which is smaller than 0.05. So the research data above is distributed normally. Normal and researchers can proceed to parametric statistics. This is the result of paired simple t-test. From this screen, we can see that pair 1, the result of pair 1 and pair 2 values of, based on the result of pair 1 and pair 2, values of 0.000 and 0.000 were obtained, which means smaller than 0.05. It can be concluded that there is an effect of the, the listening of animation video. This is the homogeneity test. The significance values based on the mean above is 0.05, 0.654, which is higher than 0.05. So it can be concluded that the variance of the post-test data for the experimental class and the post-test data for the control class are homogeneous. This is the result of Uji independent sample t-test. Based on the output above, this is the Uji independent sample t-test. The value is higher than 0.05. It can be concluded that there is a difference on the average value. That's all of my presentation. Thank you very much. The conclusion is alternative hypothesis is accepted. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Eva. So we are in a question and answer session. So for the audience, if you have a question or suggestion, you may ask and suggest the presenter. Thank you.
Hello, class. Any comment? Any suggestion? Address to Ibu Eva. Okay. No one respond to moderator. Okay. Let me, don't waste the time. Ibu Eva,
Yes, ma'am.
you have done, this is a great job. You have done your assignment very well. I'm glad that you presented in the form of a statistical analysis. But again, the similar comment as I addressed to Ibu Ikrimah a few minutes ago, that when you apply, when you show the readers, when you show the audience of statistical analysis, this data will be meaningful, would be meaningful if you explain it in detail. For example, this is the conclusion. Alternative hypothesis is accepted. What does it mean? What the hypothesis says? What does the hypothesis say? What does the alternative hypothesis say? Okay, you mentioned here, you state here that the first is, where is that?
Does
Bu,
animation
bisa
video
diperbesar kah,
affect
Bu?
student?
Bisa diperbesar kah slide-nya? Full
Yes,
slide,
ma'am.
Bu. Full slide, ngerti kah? Slide show from the beginning.
Okay,
Gitu, Bu,
yes,
supaya
ma'am.
dilihat, Bang. This one, thank you. So, very good, because you implement quasi-experimental design with one group, with what? Okay.
There are,
So I'm still
and the
reading,
second is, Yes, okay, ma'am.
Okay. Just now you explained to us that alternative hypothesis is effective, yeah, to teach speaking skill, video, I mean. So you need to explain that video animation is effective to assist the students practicing speaking skill and able to develop their speaking skill. Yeah. So by explaining such a way, you emphasize that this this media, video animation is effective for teaching speaking skill for the students, and the students are able to develop their speaking skill, particularly in this particular class, 7th grade students of MTS Buntok, for example, right? So what you need to do is, while you are doing presentation, you need to explain orally, not only display the data in the slide, but you need to explain it. This is more meaningful. So, my comment is that overall, you have conducted the research. This is very well. This is excellent result. I'm glad that in the very short time you are able to show us that animation, video or video animation is effective media for teaching speaking for teenagers and particularly 7th grade students of MTS Bandung. But remember, Ibu, this is a seminar. You expose, you publish your research finding to the audience, to the readers, to the audience, and it means that you need to explain it clearly. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So that's all about the presentation and also the question answer session. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.
Any more presentation or any more?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Who is the moderator? Can you lead the next session, please?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, friends and Ma'am Elan. So today we have a presentation from Agel, and the title is about designing ebook of descriptive text of English using Canva application for students at SMA Isan Mulang, Palangkaraya. And then you have 5 minutes to present your PowerPoint here, your article, and then for the next session, it's about question and answer. So Agel, the times is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the moderator. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for the time. So I'm Agel Altalari. So here, I would like to present my mini research with the title Designing ebook of descriptive text of English using Canva application for students at SMA Isemulang Palangkaraya. So this topic consists of 3 parts. The first is introduction, second is research method, and the last one is result and discussion. So introduction. As we know, as time goes by, all aspects of human life, of course, move dynamically according to the demands of the times, including education. And the development of 21st century give a big impact on social life and education, where the technology is developing rapidly so that it helps the social life or society and also education. In everyday life, everyone always use technology to support their daily activities such as smartphones, computer, or laptop. The use technology is very helpful in daily activities such as communicating working, delivery information until helping the teaching and learning process. So, writing. Write is not a simple thing. There are something that have to observe, and there are rules to follow. For example, we have to pay attention to the spelling, grammar, mechanic, and others. So writing is not easy. Therefore, therefore the students have to learn how to produce a good writing. So writing descriptive text. Descriptive text is the text to describe a particular person, place, animal, or thing. The student must be able to produce a good descriptive text in order to make the readers understand descriptive text about. Therefore, the reader be able to know the characteristic or how something looks like. So in writing descriptive text, there are some rules must be considered. They are generic structure and language feature. So the student have to learn about this first before they write a good descriptive text. So the use of conventional learning is quite boring for students because it used for many years. In conventional learning, the teacher usually use a textbook that feel bored when read it. So in learning about descriptive text, the teacher has to use a media that interests for student to increase student enthusiasm for learning. It is electronic book or digital book, or we can call it e-book. And the Canva application can be used to create image design, ebook designer, create videos, create PowerPoint, to comply mind map, infographic, and planners. So I use the Canva application to make or to write the electronic book. The next is research method. In this research, I use a method called quantitative research. Quantitative research use numbers or statistics to find out the result of the research. The design that I used in this research was pre-experimental with one group pre-test, post-test design. Pre-tests were given to the students before treatment, and then a post-test was given after the student received the treatment. And the treatment was the electronic book. So there are two hypotheses here. The first is HO or null hypothesis, and the second is HA or alternative hypothesis. In the null hypothesis, the hypothesis in this research are there was not significant effect of using ebook on student achievement in writing descriptive text for the 11 social grade student at senior high school Isen Mulang Palangkaraya. And the HA or alternative hypothesis are there was significant effect of using ebook on student achievement in writing descriptive text for the 11 social grade student at senior high school Isen Mulang Palangkaraya. The next is the result. I researched 11 social grade students at senior high school Isen Mulang Palangkaraya. The student of 11 social grade of SMA Isen Mulang Palangkaraya consists of 15 students. Before test the hypothesis by using pirate sample t-test, I test the normality first. Why? Because the requirement of using pirate sample t-test, the data must be normally distributed. If the value of sig is higher than 0.05, it means the data are normally distributed. And if the value of sig is lower than 0.05, it means the data are not normally distributed. As we can see on the table, the value of the sig is 0.200 and 0.054. it is higher than 0.05, it means the data are normally distributed. So I will be use the Paris sample to test the hypothesis. In the first meeting, I gave a test as a pre-test for the student to see the student achievement before the treatment. And in the second meeting, I gave a test as post-test for the student to see their achievement after given a treatment. Based on the result of the calculating the data of pre-test and post-test on the SPSS application, null hypothesis is rejected, or alternative hypothesis is accepted. So the result show that there was significant effect of using ebook on student achievement in writing descriptive text for the 11 social grade student at SMA Isemulang Palangkaraya. So the use of textbook at school and outside school is boring enough for students. So why? It is because the size of the textbook is quite large and thick, make it difficult to carry the textbook anywhere. And then therefore, the use of electronic book or ebook is very interesting because ebooks can be accessed via smartphone and computer. And as a human being who cannot be separated from technology, that must always carry a smartphone everywhere. Therefore, ebook contain in this smartphone. So the ebook also be carried everywhere we go. So, then the ebook can be accessed offline too. The student just have to download it first when they have an internet connection and save it on the smartphone or computers. So then they can access the file or the ebook in offline. So the ebook is have several advantages and benefits. Ebook can be accessed online and then traditional book. It may also be accessed effortlessly when traveling without the inconvenience of carrying heavy books. So for the conclusion, the use of ebook is very helpful in teaching learning process because the student and teacher do not need to carry large and thick textbook, and ebook can be accessed online and offline anytime and anywhere. Then the ebook present text with picture, animation, colorful, and the fresh view. So this make the ebook look interesting to read for student. So that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much. And back to moderator.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Agel. So out of students here, if you have any question to Agel, you can address your question. Okay.
Okay, I would like to ask the presenter, for Mr. Agel, could you tell me or explain what kind of test did you use? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ikrima. The test is a write test. I asked the student to write a descriptive text. They write a descriptive text, just up to them. They want to write descriptive text of place, person, thing, animal, or anything. It's just up to them. So the test is writing test, and the student write a descriptive text. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Pak.
Thank you.
Okay, is it clear, ma'am? Okay, so is there any questions to the other students? Or suggestion or comment or something like that to his article? Is there any question? Udah kelihatan. Is there any questions, students? Or suggestion or a comment to his article?
Okay. My comment is based on the title that you introduced to us, that you are going to design. It means that the last product that you show to us is a book. But it seems to me that can you show the title, please? First slide, please. Designing ebook of descriptive text of English using Canva for the student at Eastern Mulang. So the idea based on this title, I can see that there is a book that you are going to produce in the form of ebook. Yeah, so ebook consisting of descriptive text with wait descriptive text for the students of SMA SMA Isan Mulang Palangkaraya. But later on, your explanation go far away from my dream. Why? Why? Because it seems to me that you want to explore the effect of ebook, on the students' writing skill, descriptive text by using Canva. So the last idea that I catch, that I grasp from explanation, that you are not designing, you did not designing ebook, but you explore the effect of descriptive text using Canva on the students' writing skill. So it seems to me if this is the content, you need to change the title. Sorry to say, Pak Agel, the effect of ebook of descriptive text using Canva on the students' writing skill. Because at the last slide you explain that ebook is effective and so on and so on. Oke, sebentar ya, saya ada orang di luar lagi, ada tamu sebentar.
Pokoknya nanya. Krik siap Karik. Rika.
Okay, if there is no question, please go to the next presenter. Yeah, while I'm doing there is someone.
Okay, ma'am. Moderator, Kak Eva.
Okay, good morning, ma'am.
Aku presentasi.
Good morning, class. Now I am as the moderator for Miss Rika. She would like to present the result of her study. As the previous presentation, you have 5 minutes to present the result of your study from now on.
Okay, thank you so much for the time. So today I will present my article is about the use of Plotagon as a video animation in teaching listening skill at SMA Isan Mulang. So the next is content. There's introduction, literature review, method, result and discussion, conclusion, and references. Yeah.
Slide-nya belum jalan, ma'am.
Is it clear? Can you see my PowerPoint?
Enggak, lengket di
Not yet.
Ceket.
Conclusion, lengket
Yeah, wait.
conclusion.
Wait.
Laptop.
Here.
Okay, bisa.
Clear.
Okay. For the introduction, the video is a common tool for engaging students and enhancing learning outcomes. Plotagon is one of the learning medium that can be used in the form of videos. When an English teacher uses Plotagon as a medium, students will believe that learning a foreign language, especially English, would be more interesting. When an instructor uses Plotagon to teach English, the students will enjoy learning the language. From the explanation above, the author wants to conduct a Plotagon research is about a Plotagon for teaching and learning media, since these are ideal for teaching and listening. In addition, the writer hopes that by using video media in the teaching learning process, students will be able to master listening and become interested in learning English. The students in the study are SMA Isen Mulang Palangkaraya. And then for the literature review, listening, an intricate web of situational variables interacts to determine what meanings are derived determines what meanings are derived in conversation. Sorry. Processing requirements such as reciprocity of interlocutors' perspectives, the etc. principle, filling in the gaps of one hears with knowledge of the language and the world, and combines retrospective and prospective meanings all come into play. And next is Plotagon is a freeware software application that may be used in education as a storytelling tool for making short or longer films due to its text-based movie production interface. In other words, Plotagon is a maker application of video animation that can be used for the learning process. For the method in the research was pre-experimental. It means quantitative research. It aimed at describing students' listening skill in using Plotagon. Actually, ini salah. It was consists of one group pretest design. Treatment was given between pretest and post-test. T1 x T2. T1 for pretest, X for experiment, and T2 for post-test. There were two variables in this research, namely independent and dependent variable. The independent variable was the use of Plotagon in teaching listening, and the dependent variable was the students' listening skill. The population of this research was 100 students of SMA Isen Mulang Palangkaraya. There were IPA and IPS classes that were 12 students for the population. And next is result and discussion. Sorry. Based on the result of the pretest, it can be clearly seen that the student score ranged between 75. The mean score that pretest was 35.42, with the lowest score was 0 and the highest one was 0.5. Was 75. On the other hand, the range of student score for a post-test lies 50. It shows that the minimum score of post-test is 50 and the maximum one is 100, while the average score is 72.92. Therefore, it can be justified that student score in listening skill improve after the implementation of treatment. Okay, next, the table, sorry. The mean score students listening comprehension in both pretest and post-test. The mean score in pretest is 35.42, while the mean score in the post-test is 72.92. It means that the mean score gain 37.5. And the next is the table shows that the significance value is 0. It indicates that the influence is significant since 0 is less than 0.05. It means that HO is rejected while HE is asserted that there is a significant influence of using Plotagon as video animation in teaching listening skill at SMA Isen Mulang. Therefore, it can be concluded that there is a significant influence of using Plotagon as video animation in teaching listening skill at SMA Isen Mulang. And for the conclusion, it's shown that the mean score in pretest is 35.42. While the mean score in the post-test is 70.92, it means that the mean score gained 37.5, as I discussed before. And furthermore, the result of the table shows that the two-tailed significance is 0. It indicates that the influence is significant since 0 is less than 0.5. It means that the HO is rejected and H1 is accepted, that there is significant influence of Protagon as video animation in teaching listening skill at SMA Isen Mulang. So that's all about my article. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rika. Now we are on the next session, question and answer session. If you have any question, class, you can address it to Ms. Rika. Is there any question?
Okay. My comment is Rika Suraya. Okay, your presentation is excellent. I'm glad that you're able to to simplify your explanation, even though you show us statistical data analysis, but you're able to narrate it. Yeah. What does it mean? You explain it orally, and then strictly to explain the meaning of statistical analysis. For example, the last point. Can you show me the last point? The last slide, I mean.
Wait a minute. My letter.
Last point, the conclusion. This is the way that I want all the presenters to do the same way. Why? Because even though you show the audience about statistical data analysis, the way you use the way you explain, the way you implement it, I mean, a statistical procedure, but you are able to explain it orally. Yeah, you explain it very well. Show me, please. The last slide, please.
Nggak kelihatan ya, Ma'am. Sorry, I thought that
Ada belum?
I showed. Sorry, Ma'am.
No, this is still statistic, post-test, pre-test. Yes, good. Thank you.
Okay.
So even though you saw us the significant, the statistical way of how you gather data and analyze it and then come into conclusion, you then state your explanation here. It indicates that, okay, the very significant point is to explain it orally, not only because it is rejected, but there is significant influence of Protagon as a video animation in teaching listening skill at SMA. This is the significant point, right? That the meaning of 0.5, yeah, greater than 0.05 and so on. Not all the people, not all the audience are able to understand this symbol, right?
Yes.
As a scholar, we need to know this. We need to know this. But not all the audience, not all the listener, not all the participants of a conference happy, with numbers, right? That's why we
Yes.
need to explain it orally, explain it directly. So by explaining it orally, the audience, yeah, the participant are understanding about the idea that you share. And this is conclude your finding that there is a significant influence of Pentagon as a video animation and teaching listening skill. Where it is a okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Moderator.
Presenter, please. Masih ada kah?
The last, ma'am. I'm the last one.
The last one.
Yes.
You are the last one? Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. My comment concerning the presentation. First of all, my comment is concerning the presenters. Well, I'm glad that you are able to do a simulation, right? Play a role as a presenter in a seminar, in international conference, for example. And all the presenters are able to explain to all of you as presenters, right? that you're able to take a position, take a role, play the role as a presenter, right? This is good. And by doing what? By preparing PPT. That's good. But the weakness of your PPT is that too many words, too many sentences. And this is not good for an international conference. Why? Because the committee provide a very short time for us as a presenter to talk, to explain. That's why you only need 5 to 6 slides of PPT. And the slides consist of 5 to 6 slides must be introduced or helping you, guide you to the pointer of explanation based on your research. So PPT consists of the point, the significant points that you need to explain orally. And it includes what? Introduction, include research method that you applied, and also discussion, and which cover conclusion. So only why? Introduction 2 slides, for example, research method 2 slides, and discussion and conclusion 2 slides. So it's enough 6 slides for the presentation in 5 minutes. And the more insignificant thing is try to encourage the audience to address your question and so on and so on. That's my comment on the presentation, the presenter, I mean, and also the PowerPoint. And to moderator, I'm glad that all of you function as moderator are able to do and play the role very well because you introduce the presenter and then so the rules what the presenter need to do and then what the audience need to do also. So you play the significant role as a presenter. So that's my comment concerning the presentation today. And hopefully that later, if you come to the real conference, international conference, hopefully you are able to function. Please speak English clearly. Why? Use simple English, right? So don't explain more complicated one. And don't forget, if you show the audience about statistical data, explain them clearly. It is very important. Why? Because the function of international conference is you publish, you expose your research finding to the audience, to the participant. And it means that you exchange your knowledge, you exchange your your skill to others. You share your finding to others. And this is your contribution that is explained as simple as possible that makes the audience understand the idea or the research finding that you convey to them. That's my comment. Class, thank you very much. And sorry. Suppose this is the last meeting. There's no meeting anymore. And for the what? Sorry. For the final exam, please submit to my email the PPT and the complete article. Can you? Please send it next week. So complete article and the PPT that you share to us today. All the students, yeah, because today there are how many presenters? 7 presenters, and the rest of you who did not do the presentation, please do the same thing. Submit your complete article and the PPT that you have in the previous presentation. Jadi silakan disubmit ke email saya complete artikelnya dengan PPT pada saat presentasi. Oke, itu saja tasnya untuk isu in ELT, ya, untuk isu in seminar of ELT. Jadi last week please submit it. Don't late than last week. Why? Because I need to rekap nilai-nilai, Bapak Ibu, tolong. Saya juga merekap nilai dari S1, itu lebih banyak lagi dari yang di S2, jadi mohon kerjasamanya agar saya tidak terlambat menyerahkan nilai ini atau share nilai ini kepada Prodi. That's my comment. So, listen more. Thank you very much for your attention and your participation. sorry Ibu maksa-maksa kalian harus bisa presentasi because I think this is the essence of a seminar on ELT. Jadi bukan hanya Ibu yang menjelaskan, but you play a role as a presenter. Yes, and congratulations because all of you are lucky to do it, to do your best in this the moment. So my dream is that someday you will be a presenter at the international conference, yeah, in the future. Congratulations! Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am.
See you. Makasih ya Pak Yogi. Lebih dari 2 jam lupa.
Nggak apa-apa, Bu.
Oke. Ya, kasih ya. See you. Bye-bye.
See you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ya.
Gelap banget muka aku.